Knowledge is only a perspective about truth, theories, science, and religion, written and read by Bernhard Kutzler. Knowledge is often confused with truth, and science is mistakenly considered the guardian of truth. In the following, I will shed light on the confusion surrounding these and related terms. An Old English word for know is wittern, which has the root weit, meaning to see. The German word for know, wissen, has the same root. To know means to see, physically with the senses or mentally. Therefore, knowledge is a perspective. This word has the Latin root specere, which means to look at. A perspective, and thus knowledge, is neither right nor wrong. If you look at a city from a helicopter, you see it differently than if you look at it from a neighboring hill. And if you walk through the city, you see it differently again. A perspective is neither good nor bad. It is just more or less useful. From a neighboring hill, you can see which is the tallest building, but not the shortest route from the train station to the church. For that, you need the bird's eye view from a helicopter, which a city map also provides. And if you want to know what color the church entrance gate is, you must stand in front of it. Imagine one of your neighbors. You know something about him because you have spoken to him a few times. Maybe you have heard a thing or two about him from others. Altogether, you have a perspective of him. This perspective can be more or less close to the truth. Optical illusions teach us we cannot even rely on what we see with our eyes. Everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth. Marcus Aurelius. Everyone has only perspectives. What someone says is their perspective. A book contains the author's perspective. In a newspaper, you can read the perspectives of the journalists or the editor. Teachers at schools and universities teach perspectives. Your doctor has a perspective of you, which is why it makes sense to get a second opinion or perspective if necessary. The word truth has the root deru, which means be firm, solid, steadfast. The German word for truth, Wahrheit, has the root wehr, which means trust. The truth is solid. You can trust it. It is what it is. What is the truth about homelessness? No matter how many homeless people you have seen, or even know personally, no matter how much you have read about homelessness, you only have a perspective of it. You can know the truth about it only if you have been or are homeless. Truth is being. The misconception of the word knowledge also exists because science has the same social status today as religion did hundreds of years ago. Back then, the church was regarded as the guardian of truth, although, logically, it also only has perspectives. The word belief expresses its connection to truth. It means holding something to be true, which differs from being true. Today, science is regarded as an authority. The word science comes from the Latin word scientia, which means knowledge. Therefore, science is about perspectives. The famous US physicist and Nobel Prize winner Richard Feynman put it like this: if you thought before that science is certain, well, that is just an error on your part. Religion and science are similar. Both search for the truth, but both have only perspectives. The explanatory models of religion are based on one or more deities who guide the lives of people. Each god has certain characteristics from which their guidance arises. For example, with a punishing god, an illness can be a punishment for disobedient behavior. The explanatory models of science are limited to causalities within the physical world. The emergence of many diseases, for example, is explained by pathogens. In religion, you must believe in the God or gods. In science, you must believe in the explanatory model. So in the end, science is also about belief. Unlike religion, science is dynamic in its search for truth, or at least it should be. While most religions dogmatically refer to a book, for example, science is constantly refining or changing its models by researching ever deeper into causes. In physics, it was long believed that atoms are the building blocks of matter. Then it was atomic building blocks such as electrons. Then came quarks. Today, string theory is en vogue. In medicine, the theory of microbes as the cause of diseases is not the last word of wisdom. It cannot explain why microbes make one person ill and not another. The French doctor Claude Bernard formulated the following counter-thesis. The microbe is nothing. The terrain is everything. In contrast to microbes, the terrain is much more difficult to measure and control. It depends on many factors such as diet, exercise, breathing, stress, sleep, and mindset. Scientific perspectives are called theories. The word theory comes from the Greek word theoria, which means a looking at, and therefore means the same as the word perspective. As in religion, there are also competing perspectives or theories in science. One person says this, the other says that, such as microbes or terrain as the cause of disease. Academia, like all other human communities, is also governed by personal sensitivities, vanity, ambition, striving for power, and so on. This influences which theories prevail. Albert Einstein is an example. He did not get a job at any university after his studies. He had a reputation for questioning established results and conducting unorthodox research. As a result, no professor wanted him at their institute. But the rejection did not impress Einstein. For years, he carried out his research privately, putting up with many hardships. It was only after the publication of his special theory of relativity and several other articles that he got an academic position. Today, he is considered one of the greatest scientific geniuses in history. His theory of relativity is not only the basis of modern space travel, it has become an integral part of modern life. Every GPS system uses it. Everyone only has perspectives, private, professional, religious, political, etc. But unfortunately, most people consider their perspectives to be truths. And so people often fight because of different perspectives, instead of simply exchanging them out of curiosity. Different perspectives can even lead to wars. The Crusades of the 12th and 13th centuries are an example. Among other things, they were waged for religious reasons. That's how fundamentalist the Roman Catholic Church was back then. Today, we are once again experiencing religious fundamentalism. People would do well to take the Greek philosopher Socrates as a role model, because the few perspectives that a person accumulates in their life are as good as nothing in relation to the universe and its history. I know that I know nothing.